Hello there, welcome to the vlog. Pretty intense week. Got some other things to share, but just trying it out. You can't see it, but there's a cat right here, right in my face. Timber, come on. Not cool. Okay, sorry about that. So let's start off on Monday. So on Monday, started off with a core meeting. We're talking a lot about getting organized around budget and planning. We're still doing that. Spent some time with Grant Geisler, our business manager, working on grants. That's a funny joke that'll come back later. Had my weekly meeting with Jeffrey Jared over at UES. He's tech integrationist there. We're starting a new show called Bet You Can't Do That on a Chromebook. The reason that we're doing that show is to really help support educators in our buildings. A lot of people get stuck thinking that they can't do much with Chromebooks, and we're here to tell you that you can. So it's also a good way to keep our skills sharp, get some FaceTime with people, have a lot of fun, good stuff. So we're working on that. First episode to be out this coming week. Also met with Kathy Clements while I was there. She's the math coach at UES, and we are working on gearing up for our next session on Monday, where we are going to be introducing proficiency scales. And we found some great templates. Kathy did a ton of work. She developed a sample prioritized standard and proficiency scale, and we're going to go through and have teams do that on Monday, and then again on Thursday at RPS, and be able to start working on having our proficiency scales, which will lead to some really amazing conversations. So pretty excited about that. Rounded out the day on Monday, stopping in at the Main Street Middle School staff meeting. They were talking about their UBD templates, and I really wanted to hear that, and I got to hear how they use those in their curriculum development, and it's very good. It's very helpful for me. If you can hear yelling, that's my kids having a good old time, which is fantastic, and I don't want to jinx it. On Tuesday, I started off the day at a UES Grade 1 meeting. We were talking about some literacy programs and how to support kids in classrooms, and some questions around that and where we're going with it. And it was a great conversation. I only got to stay for like 30 minutes because I had to go to continuous improvement plan training, the Vermont Agency of Education, discussing phase 2 of continuous improvement planning. Pretty good training, got a lot of information. The thing about these trainings and things like this is that they leave you almost instantly overwhelmed, and that's certainly how I was feeling afterwards. I'm trying to figure out a way to align CIP, continuous improvement planning, with CFG, consolidated federal grants, and figure out where they align in their timeline things. Give you an example. On grants, we have to provide evidence. On our CIP, we have to do PDSA cycles, where we plan, do, study, and act. And so I think that those two things align. So I'm going to look at where I would be doing the levels of evidence in CFG and see if I can plan to do some PDSA and CIP. Right? You get me, you see how I'm doing there. Also had a league meeting that day. That's our admin team. Continuing to talk a lot about budget development and getting that going in a really organized, structured way. And did a book review with the fellas. That is up there as well. Pretty exciting book review, actually, because I think we're going to have one of the authors come to UES soon. Maybe we'll get them on the show. Pretty excited about that. On Wednesday, I stopped into the MHS staff meeting. I'm really trying to do better at getting out and about. There was this great post, and I think it was an Ed Week this week, I'll put it up here somewhere, about leaders. It was specifically about principals, but it certainly applied to leaders in schools, and how they manage their time, and that being one of the top challenges. And my schedule has been bonkers lately with back to back, and I'm struggling with two things. One, I'm not getting into schools and classrooms as much as I want to, and two, I don't have any time to do the work. So I'm working on that. I'm trying to figure it out. So stopped in at MHS staff meeting, had a great conversation with Mike Canfer. He's the director of network services for Champlain Valley School District. I've been struggling with this concept of privacy and data for students and how we set up structures internally to work with that and fix that and do a good job with that. And Mike was amazing. Bonnie Birdsall told me to talk to him. I set up a Google Hangout time with him, and he walked me through how to use the Vermont Student Privacy Consortium site, as well as a process by which teachers can submit requests for apps or software, and they can be reviewed by a team. The privacy policies of that company can be reviewed by a team and approved or not approved, which is super important but clunky. So I very much appreciate Mike taking the time to walk me through that, and I'm certainly going to call upon him again. Also went out to Roxbury that day, got to see a furry friend. They had a therapy dog visiting for the day, so how can that be bad? And I also got to see Ben Brownell try out some flexible seating. That was pretty cool. And then at the end of the day, I went back to the Main Street Middle School, and we did our second podcast with Jen Williams, Library Lab. And again, one of the reasons we're doing this is to promote use of technology and showing examples, things like that. But I think Jen really hit on something when we were talking about library. That's an exciting topic for people, and there's not a lot of specific podcasts that I've found that speak to library media specialists, so it's pretty exciting. We're also doing it to explore tools like Anchor FM, which is a podcasting tool that works very well on a Chromebook. And so we're trying to find ways to use that. We want to knock down the barriers for people to use tools like that to create media and messages. On Thursday, I went to the VSBA Fall Conference. Superintendent Bone Steele suggested that I attend this. And so probably the best part of that was the keynote speaker, Caroline Hill. She was a principal, Washington, D.C. area, and she told some very powerful stories about being a leader and responsibilities and engaging students. And I've been reading these two books. I read this book a long time ago, Extreme Ownership, and then the latest book that has come out is The Dichotomy of Leadership. And I couldn't help but think when Caroline was talking about how she took extreme ownership of the situation. She had a student that was having a tough time, and she took ownership of that. And it was very, very powerful. I suggest both these books for anyone and about anything. It's not just about leadership, it's about life and being a good person and all that good stuff. I also suggest following Caroline Hill on Twitter. Fantastic speaker. I did attend a session about the ESSA snapshots that will be coming out for schools. I'm going to include probably the most important slide for people that weren't there about dates of what's happening with the ESSA snapshots. I also have in my hands the slideshow from that presentation. If anyone wants that, just let me know. I will send that along so that, it was Lake Maury, which was amazing. ESSA Snapshot, And then Friday, just to round out the week with conferences and trainings and everything, I had a full day grant management and fiscal monitoring training. The funniest part of that was that it was a grant training and I went with a guy named Grant. Other than that, I'd advise all curriculum directors out there or grant managers to take a second look at their assurances in the grant system. There was some interesting information about how you determine supplement or supplant and what you clicked or may not have clicked on the assurances page. Just take a look. Second tab in. I encourage you to do that. And that's it. That was the week. And, again, just trying to figure out my schedule and how to balance everything, but also get some quality time to think and construct and design and do all those curricular pieces, but also get into classrooms and also keep up with all of this stuff. But I'm sure it'll be fine. Come on, right? There you go. Thanks for watching.